What's up? How's it going? Welcome to another day. So what I want to talk about this week, definitely an interesting week. I was at a conference over the weekend, and it was called the Strive Conference. Really good. The basic takeaways that I got, there were 4 different mini courses I was able to do. The first keynote speaker was a Olympian. She got to talk about, she was a Canadian Olympian. She made it to the Badminton semifinals in 2012. And she just talked about the mindset that got her there. She was a racket sport, right? Badminton is a racket sport. And she played multi-sports. She played basketball, she played badminton, she played a bunch of other sports before she settled on badminton. She actually didn't settle on badminton, or didn't really try. I would say didn't really try. She tried to play badminton, but she took it as like, this is what I'm going to focus on. Wasn't until her senior year of high school. So that's roughly about 17, 18, which is really interesting because you hear about parents specializing their kids way too early. I've talked about that before, and I have 4 kids of my own. I am not going to specialize them. They do track, they do gymnastics, they lift weights, they do a bunch of stuff. And the main goal is to get them familiarize them with their body and how it moves, and that's what sports is for. Like, the idea of sports for kids, if you think about it, should be surrounded around the factor of learning how to run, learning how to throw, and playing a game to be able to do it. And that's essentially what it's really good for. Outside of that, if you start specializing your kids too early, now mind you, there are kids who specialize early and are absolutely menaces to the game that they play. I know you meant it, like, they're absolutely just dogs. They're good. And then there's kids who specialize too early and then end up hating the sport. So the biggest thing that I look at is, how do I get my kids to like just playing sports, but also like health? Like, I look at sports as health and fitness. Like, look at it from a longevity. For me, I look at, like, for instance, I always use this example for the athlete. Now, the way I look at an athlete is that they are getting paid to do their job, right? And you might get into it, like, a lot of people get into sports like really religiously, like this is going to be the thing that you get into, and I love it. I'm cheering for my national team. I'm cheering for my local team and whatnot, which is great. Now, the only issue that I have with this type of mentality is that sports in reality is a job, and the athlete is getting paid to entertain us. And we're paying to be entertained. That's exactly what it is. All the way from Roman gladiators, and you can think about Gladiator, Russell Crowe. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Right? And like, that is what is happening in the sports world. So when you watch a LeBron James break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record, while it means a lot to him, it's just him doing a job. It's no different than Bob from accounting breaking the record of the amount of accounts getting solved within a year.
What's up, G?
Wanna go to Chachki's? Get some coffee?
Oh, it's a little early.
I gotta get out of here. I think I'm gonna lose it.
Or within the lifetime. Like, it's the same thing. So we don't keep track of certain things, so therefore it doesn't matter. But because we don't keep track of any of these things, we don't gamify things. So anyways, I think the biggest thing when it comes down to sports is the gamification of life and getting to understand how you can gamify it. Like, here's another sport, wealth keeping. We keep track of people's wealth by saying this person's net worth is X, right? And we're like, oh wow. And it's like, oh, this is the richest person in the world. Oh wow, right? And we're entertained and we want to know these things. So that's why when it comes down to youth sports, my biggest thing in youth sports is making sure the focus is on the health of the child and making sure they're getting into the fitness regime. Because what ends up happening as they get older, a lot of kids, I get a lot of people that say, I used to play sports, and now they're out of shape. They don't know how to work out. They don't know what to do to work out, because forever working out was attached to a sport. And so now they don't know how or what to do. So I'm teaching my kids how to work out or exercise, train for life, and then when a sport comes up, you can be more specific. But there's general physical preparedness and sport-specific preparedness. And there's different ways of training. And once you understand that, you're good. Anyways, the next workshop I did was with Ben McDonald. We did a workshop on neural nitro and how to breathe, focusing on breathing, standing, and gait or patterning, like in terms of your proprioception, and why it's important for the health and longevity of a human. So really focusing on these types of things. I'll show a couple things with that. But it is definitely important to work on your breathing box breathing is very important. Breathing through your nose is really important. A quick way to kind of get like the most out of your breathing is say and when you say that what that is, the tongue is going to the roof of your mouth. Now if you think about it, a mouth breather, their tongue either sits like this at the bottom of their mouth or it sits up. So whenever I find that I put my tongue down to the bottom, so like this, my mouth naturally wants to open up because my tongue is down here. Now if I am sitting down and I'm like this, my tongue is actively up, my mouth wants to stay shut. So here's that's a little trick for you if you want to focus on more nasal breathing. You can get into nasal breathing. There's different things you can get into with nasal breathing. Something that I was getting into is a mouth guard while I was sleeping, and I put that mouth guard on and then locks my teeth in, and it gives my tongue enough room to wiggle around. From that point, it also stops snoring. You don't snore as much, which you get better sleep. So that's something you can look into to kind of help you. I'll drop the Amazon link in the description. From there, I went to have my lunch. Then I went to, actually I didn't have my lunch yet. I went to another course with Boyce, talking about the trainer's toolbox. And it's something that you have to look at. Boyce is an accredited author, magazine, he's been on tons of magazines, publicized, and he's a professor at Hunter College. But one of the things we talked about was, we talked about the trainer's toolbox and why it's important for trainers, personal trainers, to have certain things in the toolbox. A lot of trainers don't have these certain things. Like they don't have so here's a great one, assessing someone, right? So it's how you assess people. The assessment of someone is making sure that they are all around in a good place, learning. Like, so what I mean by assessment, what I mean by like being able to assess somebody is when someone comes in, what's your tool for assessment? So one of the things we talked about was that there's a lot of different assessments, and you can't get too dogmatic about which assessment you want to do. And so that's something as a trainer, I don't get overtly dogmatic about like what I want to do or what people should be doing. I'm more focused on with my clients, what's the best assessment to use at this time for this client. And so this is why I take a lot of assessment courses to kind of have a lot of tools. And so the trainer toolbox is a great example of, as a trainer, you need to have a lot of tools to be able to get people to the results they want. And if you were a contractor and someone said, I want you to renovate my house, and all you had was a hammer, you're not going to be able to be a good contractor. Same thing as a trainer. If someone says, I want you to be able to help me be healthy through a pregnancy, or if they say, I want to be able to live healthy and longer, like these are all factors that are very important, that when you don't focus on these things, or you don't do these things, what ends up happening is that realistically, you're not going to be a great trainer. And if your trainer is like that, you want to maybe talk to them about it, because that's something they had to improve on. All right, so then from there, I went to another course, and actually I did have lunch after that. And then I went to another course about debunking women's fitness. The number one thing I took from there is, don't believe the hype on social media. When it comes to women in fitness, there's a lot of things that are negative on social media for men and women, but specifically for this workshop, those are surrounding women. And the biggest thing the biggest thing to take away from that is the negative effects of social media and women. So there's something called the pink tax.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Pink tax is anything that is for women costs more. So what you hear is like women's protein and women's creatine and women's this, and it's like women can take the same normal creatine that we take, that men take. Women can also take the normal protein we take. Like that's not really what should change. And the other thing is that like, oh, here are the exercises that women should do. And so like a lot of times you have people, mainly influencers. I'm gonna say influencers because they're trying to bring this down even more. So they're saying, here are the top 5 exercises women should do, right? So you have people say like that. While it's catering towards women, but these are the top 5 exercises that women should do. These are the top 5 exercises everyone should do. Or focusing on the pelvic floor, right? You have a lot of women talking about pelvic floor. Men can focus on that too. So there's a lot of different avenues where it's like women and men have to focus on. When it comes down to training, the biggest thing you have to look at is that it is hyper-focused on what are your goals. So the thing I talk about on one of my channels is men over 40. The reason I talk about men over 40 because I'm a man over 40. Now, the things that I apply to men over 40, for the most part, when it comes down to training principles and protocols, it's gonna fit for women or men. Because it comes down to, like, this is how you train, period. So you should be able to do a lot of these things. There are 11 components of lifting, right? And you're focusing on these different 11 forms whenever you're focused on your training principles. Sorry, not lifting, of exercise. And there's different things that you need to focus on. So everything from flexibility, strength, agility, mobility, there's other ones. And so you want to focus on these things when it comes down to protocols and training. So therefore, when you're training women, we have to go beyond the factor of focusing on weight loss. Weight loss is such an interesting factor because as humans, I meet a lot of people and they all say, I want to lose weight. And it's not a bad goal, it's just not the right goal. And the reason why it's not the right goal is because losing weight is a byproduct of your natural abilities to do physical activity. Your body wants to find a sustained weight, so homeostasis. It wants to find a sustained weight where you're at, and it's like, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm happy here, okay? And so now when we're looking at, there's like people like, I'm a weight loss specialist, and it's like, I want to say that as a trainer, when you say you're a weight loss specialist, you're kind of tapping into that same aura of, oh, that weight loss is a special thing that only I can do. And once again, I'm not going to knock the hustle, I get it, but I'm going to be completely honest here. Weight loss is a byproduct of physical activity. Now, outside the factors of any sort of hormonal issues that the person might be dealing with, the reality is if you just focus on eating less and moving more, period, weight loss should happen. Okay? So eat less, move more, period, weight loss should happen. Now, if we're talking about muscle gain, that's something different. That is not eat less, move more. That is proper exercise in terms of finding a hypertrophic exercises that equal hypertrophy in the muscle and having mini tears in the muscle fibers. That way the muscles can grow. For strength, it is the tension throughout the entire body, perceived tension throughout the entire body to be able to lift something that is also heavy. So when we're looking at being able to get to the point where you're working with someone who says they want to lose weight, it's educating them. And it's like, well, what point do you educate? I don't educate in the beginning with my clients because my main focus is, you want to lose weight, that's great, let's get you focused on losing weight. But from there, I want to get them to see something beyond weight loss, because if I can get someone to see something beyond weight loss, what ends up happening is I have a client for life. But I only get them to see weight loss, so let's say all they see is weight loss. So they're like, I want to lose 30 pounds. And that's all they see, 30 pounds they want to lose. Then they lose 30 pounds. You know what happens? They say to you, I'm good now, I know what I'm doing. What exactly do you know what you're doing? You just started, right? You tapped into the, I want to lose 30 pounds, which is like your first initial goal. I look at it from a point of view like this. Okay, you want to lose 30 pounds? That's great. We're going to get you down to that 30 pounds. But what else do you want to do? And find bigger things, bigger goals you can attach to them. That way they end up having it. Anyways, the last course I did was, or last workshop I did was working on the mindset, so mental fitness. So mental fitness, the biggest thing I took away from that was you gotta work on your mental fitness. And mental fitness is the thing between mental toughness and mental health. And these are different tools that you can utilize to help yourself get to that place. As a coach, the biggest thing I looked from there is like visualization and getting yourself to visualize stuff. So the easiest way to visualize and what I got from that was think about where you want to be. Close your eyes, think about where you want to be, and you're there. Think about all the feelings you have, everything that's there, what's there. It might be that you have a wife that you want to get, husband, you want to own a gym, whatever it is, you want to get there, okay? So now you're already there. Now turn around and you're going to see a bridge. That bridge is going to be the starting point. Walk across that bridge. And as you walk across that bridge, planks are getting pulled out. Planks are getting pulled off. Planks are getting pulled off. And then all of a sudden you're at where you're at right now. That's where you are, okay? All the planks have come off the bridge and they're right beside you. So in order to get back there, you have to start thinking, what's the first plank that I need to do to have to lay down? That first thing is your first step. A lot of times when it comes down to in this game, people don't know what their first step is. It's important that you learn your first step. Your first step is going to be whatever your first step is. I can't name your first step, but I can say give you a couple first steps. Let's say, for instance, you want to get more clients, talk to people. You want to find the love of your life, talk to people. Get out there, be places where people are. You want to open the gym, start saving, start reaching out, start planning. What is it going to look like? How is it going to be? How many square footage do you want? You want to open up a restaurant. Okay, cool. start doing it. Like the main thing is that you want to start acting. The first thing is put the pen to paper, put the goal on paper. You're 80% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. Okay? So I want to leave you with that. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, share this with a friend, share this with a fellow trainer who really needs to hear. Like the biggest thing like I look at is, for instance, like you got to do something. Like you need to educate yourself. And I think this is one place where I've been a trainer for a while. And getting trainers to educate themselves really harder than it should be. It's harder than it should be. And I say it like that because I've managed tons of trainers, and I understand the finances, but finding places where you can educate yourself. This was a $99 workshop. Like through 4 workshops, $99, inexpensive. Find these things in your area where you can go to, because that is what is going to help you. Podcasts, Huberman podcast is a great resource. You can listen to other podcasts. You listen to my podcast, but like just podcasting that's out there, it's a form of resource. Now, I'm not saying you have to be always learning, but in this game, you do want to make sure that you're taking time to really learn, like educate yourself on what you need to do as a personal trainer to become better. And I think that if you take the time to educate yourself, I know that if you take the time to educate yourself, you will be a great trainer. But if you do not take the time to educate yourself, I will guarantee that within the next 4 to 5 years, the game will eat you alive, because you aren't educating yourself. You're not working. Like, you think that the tools that you have, that go back to the trainer toolbox, the tools that you have currently are good enough to build a house, but all you got is a hammer, a screwdriver. You're not building a house. Sorry to tell you that. There's other things you need to get. Okay? Maybe you're a general contractor, and the general contractor is someone who gets other people. Well, that's not a personal trainer. A personal trainer is a jack of all trades. It's someone that can do a lot of things. You can go from nutrition, dealing with mobility. So if you look at it from a point of view, here are 4 areas of opportunity that personal trainers should look at, and off with this, okay? Every personal trainer should have an assessment course. Every personal trainer should have a strength course. Every personal trainer should have a nutrition course, and every personal trainer should have some sort of flexibility course or like stretching course. If you focus on those things, so assessment, strength, nutrition, and stretching, you're a great trainer. And now just do more courses. So in terms of strength, barbell strength, kettlebell strength, so like here's your barbell kettlebell, right? Or also hypertrophy, which is still barbell kettlebell. Like barbell kettlebell and body weight, strength. Nutrition, so 4 different nutrition courses. Precision nutrition is a good one. There's a one called the Live Academy that's in Canada. That's another good one. And then for stretching, fascial stretch therapy, neurokinetics. These are all different courses. Assessments, DTS, level 1, ETA, lower body, upper body, and core mastery. What else is there? KP, level 1. What else is there? Connect Performance KP. Prescript. There is Prescript level 1 is another assessment course. You have Check, Poliquin, PICP. These are all level 1 courses that are all assessments. As a trainer, you need to have assessment. So you need to have a way to assess people to get people results. It doesn't matter what it is, but you need to figure it out. They all work. You just got to get it. And then the more you do, the more you have. And it's like, this person might have taught you to assess this way. This person might have taught you to assess this way. Your job is to put it together and figure out how to get the best for the client. That's all it is. Okay? All right, I'm going to leave you there with that. Thank you for tuning in. Like, you got anything out of this episode? Well, I know you got something out of this episode. Share with a friend. Make sure you educate yourself. And then also, CanFit Pro is happening on August 15th. I'll be walking around. If you see me, if you're in Toronto and you watch my channel, stop and say hi. I'd love to see who actually watches me as a personal trainer. But I also just want to very, very much just know what it is that you want more of. Drop in the comments what you want to hear more about. My goal is just to have a community for personal trainers to go to, and really just have this place where it's a hub for you to learn. Okay? Peace.